My name is Salmon. Like the fish. Susie. Susie Salmon. I was 14 when I was murdered. On December 6th, 1973. I was murdered by a man that lived in my own neighborhood. Anne-Marie Grace is a psychologist that works with females that have been put in dangerous situations and have been able to escape and come to her. She writes that 1 out of every 5 females before the age of 18 will be kidnapped, raped, and some even killed. She also writes that there is an 82% chance that a female walking home alone will be kidnapped and a 25% chance that she will be killed within the first 24 hours. In this piece, we will follow a young girl as she becomes part of that 25% and fights for her life in Lovely Bones by Sebold. But on December 6th, 1973, it was snowing, and I decided to take a shortcut in the cornfields behind the junior high. It was dark out because the days were shorter since it was winter. The snow was falling lightly, like a flurry of small hands, and I was just breathing in my nose until it was raining so much that I had to open my mouth. 6 feet from where Mr. Harvey stood, I stuck out my tongue, and I wanted to taste the snowflakes. Oh. Don't let me startle you, Mr. Harvey would say. I know I don't sound like him, but it's almost scary for me to try and impersonate him exactly. You're the older Salmon girl, right? Yes. How are your folks? Fine. I built something back here. Would you like to see? I'm sort of cold, Mr. Harvey, and my mom likes me home before dark. It's after dark, Susie, he said to me. Mr. Harvey said it would only take a minute, so I followed him a little bit further, where fewer stalks were broken off because no one used it as a shortcut to the junior high. I've made a little hiding place, said Mr. Harvey. I was aware that Mr. Harvey was looking at me strangely. I had older men look at me like that way since I was a baby. I mean, once I lost my baby fat, but they usually didn't lose their manners over me. My glasses were small and round with gold frames, and his eyes looked out over them and at me. You should be more observant, Susie, he said. He squatted down and knocked against the ground. What's that? I said. It's wood, Mr. Harvey said. It keeps the entrance from collapsing. Other than it's all made out of earth. What is it? Come on in and see. It was awkward to get down into. That much, he admitted. Once we were both inside the hole, he looked at me. But I was so amazed by how he had made a chimney that would draw smoke out if he ever chose to build a fire, that the awkwardness of getting in and out of the hole wasn't even on my mind. This is neato. I can still see the hole. It was the size of a small room. I could almost stand up, but Mr. Harvey had to stoop down. Look around, he said. I stared at it in amazement. The dugout shelf above him, where he had placed matches, rows of batteries, and battery powder fluorescent lamps that cast a light in the room. There was a minor shelf with a little mirror and shaving cream. Mr. Harvey asked me if I wanted a refreshment. I said I had to go home. Please be polite and have a Coke, he said. I'm sure the older kids would. What older kids? I built this for the kids in the neighborhood. I thought it would be some sort of clubhouse. I don't think I believed him even then. I imagined he was lonely. We had read about men like him in my health class, men who never married and ate frozen meals every night. I felt sorry for him. Okay, I'll have a Coke. Aren't you warm, Susie? Why don't you take off your parka? I did.
You're very pretty, Susie.
Thanks.
Do you have a boyfriend?
No, Mr. Harvey, I said. I gotta go, Mr. Harvey. This is cool, but I have to go.
I don't think you know why you're leaving.
What?
I don't think you know why you're leaving.
I was very confused, and I think he was too. Mr. Harvey, I really have to get home.
Take off your clothes.
Why?
Take off your clothes.
Mr. Harvey, please let me leave.
You aren't leaving. You are mine now, Susie.
I fought hard. I farted. I fought as hard as I could to not let Mr. Harvey hurt me. But my as hard as I could was not hard enough. Not even close. I wanted to scream, but I was afraid to and exhausted from the fight. He began to shove his hand up my shirt, and I wept. I felt bloated, and tears ran down my face. He had done things to me, and I had lived. That was why I was breathing. I heard his heart. I smelled his breath. He had worked himself all over me. I couldn't move. I couldn't get up. And when I wouldn't get up, he leaned to my side and felt me, and moved his head across the ledge where his raver and shaving cream sat, and he brought back a knife, unsheathed and smiling at me, carving up in a grin.
Tell me you love me.
Gently, I did, but the end came anyways. Thank you.